So, ma'am, first of all, really thank you for taking out your precious time for this conversation. I am very excited already. So, the drill is that I'll be asking you 5 questions. Okay, and all the questions will be real time. And I've personally picked these questions because I felt there must be a lot of aspirants. Apart from aspirants, there must be a lot of people who would, want to know how does a thought process of a, IPS officer works. Correct, especially at this particular time when you have hopped onto your entrepreneur journey while building the RAO'S Academy. Okay, so let us get it started.
Okay, absolutely.
So, ma'am, my first question would be, what is the biggest problem you have solved in your life and how you did it? Now, the check is two. First, either it can be the problem that you have solved while serving as an IPS officer, or normally, generally in life, there a person goes through a lot of problems. So, what is it? It can be the biggest. It has to be the biggest. So, what is it?
I was born in Hubli and had a very protected childhood.
Okay.
But I was very good in my studies, and my father was a vigilance officer, first
Okay.
with the railways, then with the CBI. So he wanted one of his children to be a police officer.
Okay, nice.
So he groomed me and my sister, but my sister could not get through, and so his all his focus was on me. So almost brainwashed me and
Motivated you in some
motivated
ways.
me, inspired me. He used to sit and study with me, and he was like hand holding me throughout my journey. But I had no idea of what actually a police officer is, and what are the challenges that a police officer has to face.
Correct.
And we in Karnataka, it's a very traditional kind of family. Like when you're in 10th or 12th, you start wearing saris and half saris and things like
Correct,
that.
correct.
So this is a very personal thing which I'm sharing, that when I first wore the uniform, I felt very exposed. So that was a
Interesting.
cultural shock for me actually.
Okay.
And then when you actually come into the service and you work in a police station, that is another cultural shock for you. Like you're dealing with criminals, and my first few years were very traumatic.
Okay.
For me too, just though the police academy, it trains you so well that you become mentally very strong, no doubt about it. And like when I was ASP, I faced a crowd of about 1,000 people who were pelting stones and things like that. You're just there in the center of the action,
Correct.
and you don't get phased.
सबसे weird चीज याद है आपको in the initial years जो हुई हो?
Initial years, क्योंकि मेरा posting रायपुर में था, so Raipur again was like not a very cosmopolitan town.
Okay.
So when I would go into the streets and do my duty, people would come out to see me.
Oh, nice.
Pehli IPS officer posted in Raipur. So
Acha.
how does she look and what does she do?
Nice.
Because media attention was also quite high.
Correct. Of course, that time. Yeah.
New for them also. So, but over the years, you learn.
Nice. Yeah. So you've mentioned two things. So
Yeah, two
the
things. So,
personal
yeah.
you've answered. Yeah.
So professionally, my tenure as a additional DG crime against women. This
Correct.
was another watershed moment for me, because it was always treated as a loop line kind of thing, not a very important field to work in. And
Yeah.
I was also, as a police officer, I would always like to be involved in crime
Yeah.
crime, criminals and investigations and things like that. So then I realized, when I was meeting women, I was solving their problems and giving directions to everybody to get FIRs registered, some arrests are not happening, getting those done. So then I realized that we are dealing with 50% of the population
Correct.
of women, and they are facing so many problems which you can really make a difference, you can make an impact.
Correct.
So I took up a lot of initiatives, like setting up the call center 1090,
Yeah.
setting up women's cells
Security
in all
cell.
the districts,
Yeah.
and then giving them vehicles for patrolling, and seeing that action is taken whenever there is a complaint. So there were so many things that are, so people like women from Anuppur, women from Umaria, they would come just to meet me to tell their problems, because they were not happy with whatever action was taken in their cases. So I think that And the image that I really have today is for what I did for women in the state, I think.
So talking about setting up the women's security cell, I just want to know one thing. What was the trigger point? See, this is what I need to do. That there has to be a trigger point, correct, for you to
The
do it.
trigger point was when the government set up the department, a
Correct.
separate branch, and they made me the head and said, "You go
Oh,
ahead." And whatever proposals I was giving, they were all accepted like in no time.
acha.
So I think that was the main trigger. So because of the support that I got, so then one thing led to the other, and systematically everything was,
Since you've started working very early, correct? You were a woman and you've done a lot of big milestones in the past.
Yes.
So I just want to know, how do you manage your work life and personal life, correct? Because you had a baby when Tanmay happened, so it must have been a drastic for you, drastic challenge, correct? So how did it happen, and how do you manage the workload plus personal trauma, stress, what comes the way?
You need to be very clear about your priority. The one advantage I had was my husband also being a civil servant. He knew like if I'm not coming home for like 12 hours or 14 hours, he knows that I'm there in a law and order problem and I cannot come. Maybe a person who's not in that field, he would not understand.
Correct,
Okay,
correct,
kar
correct.
kya rahi hai? What is she
Correct.
doing? Then I had a mother-in-law at home who would, cook the meals. And the third is that when you're in the very senior level, you have some help around you, so
Yeah.
you don't have to really,
You can delegate
you have
less
to
important
delegate,
stuff.
and there's no need for you to traumatize over what is happening at home.
Oh, nice.
That is one thing, but still you have to manage things.
Correct,
Because
of
if
course.
you don't look into things, they can go out of hand, and somewhere the balance, wherever the balance is gone, then your bosses may be unhappy with you or your family may be unhappy
Yes.
with you. So
Yes.
it's a very thin line that you have to walk. But luckily for me, things worked out, and I could manage. I that way I'm a good multitasker, I think.
Oh, okay.
I managed to do things
Nice.
together. Even now I do.
Mm-hmm.
So
Correct.
and I don't fret over small things.
Ah, okay.
Many people get into those nitty gritties and they, get all kinds of tensions and trauma and health issues and all that. I just take it easy where the small things are concerned. If they do not affect your normal life, don't go into all those, very small things. But of
Correct.
course, the big issues we always discuss. We are a very close knit family. We discuss and then come to a consensus and take a decision. And if anybody differs, then we hear them out there. Why do you differ with us, or what is your opinion? So we don't. Because these things, if you ignore, then it will lead to a lot of problems, which the cumulative
That comes,
yeah,
yes,
and then
yes,
suddenly
yes.
they'll be about.
Good key takeaway through while you were answering this was, first set up your priorities. जो सबसे जरूरी है उस पे काम करो. And after all, if you have a good communication and understanding with your net family, things can happen. Things works out very well. So चलो, I have asked a lot of this heavy questions. सारे में मुझसे related थे. But okay, so this is off the track. What is your favorite Shah Rukh Khan film?
दिल वाले दुल्हनिया ले जाएंगे.
Nice. And who's your favorite actor?
My favorite actor is Amitabh Bachchan.
Okay, and your favorite movie of Amitabh Bachchan particularly?
Being Satya Pe Sata.
It's good to know that you write, and so see, I am a copywriter, ठीक है? So when I write, I have a creative instinct कि पहले premise क्या होगा, then setup क्या है, फिर story का climax कैसा होना है. If I try to write, so is there any thought process that you follow while writing? Yeah, most of the writers just follow their heart and write it out based upon the situation.
Mostly based on the situation, like when my mother passed away, I wrote about her, and
Okay.
but there are some situations like my husband, he sings songs.
Yeah.
So he composed a lot of songs, and he was looking for some lyrics. If we go like ulta.
Okay.
So he composes first, and then he gives it to me.
Nice.
And then I write the lyrics. So he had a lot of bank of songs. Then he said, and one of his dreams was to release an album. of his songs.
Correct, correct.
So he was, I mean, we were in service that time. He was I was SP, he was a collector, so there was not much time also.
Correct.
But he said, "Ki you write in English, so mera Hindi bhi kara do. Something you write," he said.
Yes.
So in 2011, we actually released an album. Mr. Ravindra Jain released it in Mumbai, and there were 7 romantic songs in that,
Nice.
which I wrote and he sang. Both of us
Nice.
sang, and the release was it had a good response also. There were 2 videos also made in that.
Okay.
So after that, I keep writing on and off whenever I get the time and the
Nice.
mood.
Correct.
But it's definitely my passion.
नाइस नाइस सो आई वुड वांट टू नो कि एक जो आईपीएस ऑफिसर होता है उसका सैलरी कितना होता है व्हेन दे जॉइन
When we joined, our basic was 2200. Unbelievable.
ओह नाइस
It was so low, but now I think it's around. I have no actually idea of the exact.
मतलब
amount,
you
but
don't have to say the
should be
number.
around
Yeah.
70,000-80,000.
Okay.
We start off with that. So things have improved a lot.
एज एन आईपीएस ऑफिसर ठीक है सैलरी है
हाँ.
पर्क्स आते हैं कुछ फिर व्हाट आर द रिस्ट्रिक्शंस एज वेल दैट कम्स अलोंग विद द पर्क्स दैट आई वांट टू नो
Yeah. So perks are, yeah, you have a vehicle. You
Yeah.
have a very low rent residence.
ओके
And then according to your rank you have some help, and of course office setup both that comes automatically.
करेक्ट
If you get the gallantry medal, then you get you have this rail fare which is waived off. That's about the perks that you really get. But the restrictions are that you are a public figure,
करेक्ट
so you cannot go against the rules in saying something. You are bound by the all India service rules,
या
and you cannot like when you're investigating a case, you cannot talk to the media about all the intricacies of the investigation.
करेक्ट करेक्ट
And as a public figure, you have to maintain a particular decorum because people are watching you all the time. And then uniformed people are more visible than others. I think a particular kind of behavior is expected from the officers. Like you need to be polite. You need to listen. If somebody comes to you, you cannot be that you cannot be brash, or you need to be empathetic. You don't actually need to be humble, but you need to be empathetic, that you
okay.
listen to what the other person is saying so that you can help him.
Correct.
If you do not listen to him and do not know what his problem is, you cannot solve it also. So this is one thing. Then you need to be sincere towards your work, and you have to be dedicated to the tasks that are given to you.
yes
Some which are time bound. Sometimes so many people, so many things are involved in your work. Very
Correct.
important work that you do in whichever department you are in. So you need to be time conscious. नहीं कि file लटका के रखा हुआ है. People are suffering because of that.
yes
So this kind of sincerity and empathy बहुत जरूरी है.
one thing that you want to suggest to the current Indian police system कि what needs to be improved, or what is it, what is that one thing that you want कि आज से ही चालू हो अभी जो नहीं है
Traffic.
oh nice
Traffic management has to improve, and also the police public interface
correct
has to become even better. It is improving definitely, but people should, ये जो fear होना चाहिए, fear है ना कि मुझे थाना नहीं जाना है या थाने में ऐसा होगा वैसा होगा, all these misconceptions should go.
oh
And there should be
this is nice
transparency in your service delivery.
So now last thing, I am almost at my last question. Okay, so now this is almost out of your head. So I'll tell you a couple of words. Okay, and you have to tell me honestly what comes the first thing in your mind when you hear those words. Okay, एकदम instantly. Okay, so first is police,
Security,
aspirant,
struggle,
classroom,
discipline,
water,
conservation,
and mentorship.
Mentorship, guidance.
That is it. I hope that whoever is watching, all the viewers should got some instinct on how an IPS officer thinks, and even if after serving so much to the nation, currently Mrs. Aruna Rao ma'am is still buckling up into building an academy, following her passion of writing stories, and giving the time for young entrepreneurs like me as well, of course. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your time.